howdy.
Hey, man, it's
definitely been a rough week for me, man.
Yeah, it's been. I was curious about how we were going to conduct this. We just found out last night she wanted to come in. I mean, we saw the footage of you on the news breaking down, upset. Obviously, I mean it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your life. I would imagine.
Well, first of all, I was in the middle of nowhere in Arizona when I found out, and like I woke up to that phone call. It was.
Who called you?
Well, somehow my buddy Mohawk and Louie got the key to my hotel room because I wasn't answering the door because it was like 9 a.m. But finally they answered and they're like, "Yo, you need to talk to your brother." I'm like, "Dude, I'll call him back, man." He's like, "No, you need to talk to him now." I'm like, "I'll call him back." "No, talk to him." So then he told me it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, it almost didn't seem real. And like the worst part ever was just being in the middle of nowhere in Arizona and knowing that I need to be home like right now.
Right.
So like, it's basically like, well, first class is completely sold out. There's no direct flights, and we could get you to Austin, Texas. You'll have a 3-hour layover there. Then we have a middle seat to Detroit, and then once you get there, then we could get you to Newark, and then from there you could take a taxi all the way to Philadelphia. It's like, no, like, oh my God, like how much is a private jet right now?
Like, well, it's a nightmare scenario. I remember you talking about it because the last thing you want to do is be left to your own devices to sit there and think and ponder and feel bad for not being there. Something you had no control over. Mm-hmm. So you end up catching a flight back and during. I mean, how did you just sit there and go comatose? How did you make that flight without going out of your friggin' mind?
The most insane thing was, I had a night off. I was doing some appearances in like Vegas and San Diego. At like clubs in Vegas or whatever. And we had one night off in Arizona. And we were in the middle of the desert, and everybody was talking about how good of a time we're having and like, wow, this is a great night, all that. And then out of nowhere at 12:30 at night, I just start ripping the speakers out of the rental van, punching the roof, and then I punch the window out, and the whole thing just breaks, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know what it is. I just feel so mad right now, and I don't know why." And it turns out that 12:30, which means it's 3:30 in the morning here, which is when Dunn crashed. So like that's
you guys
just some weird energy going on there.
No, I mean
there was no reason for me to be mad
to do that.
Why would I punch out a van window for no reason? Like I just felt something. It was the strangest thing.
You guys are just gravitated to each other in high school. I mean, like it was his first day at that school after moving here from Ohio. You guys had spent a lot of good times together. Do you guys feel like you guys were kindred spirits?
Pretty much. I mean, like I met him when I was like 12 or 13, and like every project that I pretty much ever did, I always involved him in it. Like, and Zach, not to mention, he was in the car as well, and he's been at my house for like 2 months straight editing his new movie, and like it was almost done, so like I saw him every single day pulling like 48-hour days just in my editing room, like.
So the questions, everyone immediately became, it's hard to process, especially when we're just on the periphery. This is a guy who is your brother, basically. And you never know what's the right thing to do. You never want to, how do you approach someone? And it's this dance we do around death, that makes it very uncomfortable because people, everything, it's funny, Ben, because a lot of what was directed for people's compassion and heartfelt feelings was directed at a concern for how you would respond.
Yeah.
And
most people, the thing to say is like, I'm really sorry for your loss. If there's anything I could, I'll have
no one knows what to say.
I'll have like the dude from Jim's Hot Dogs come up and be like, "Yo, man, if there's anything I could do, let me know." Like, yeah, dude, give me a dozen hot dogs. Like, what do you mean? If there's anything you could do, go give me a pack of smokes and a Gatorade. What are you talking about?
Right. But, no,
I mean, I know that's the thing to say. Like, I really don't know either.
Yeah, it's just hard to process.
It is. It really is.
So, I mean, that happens. You've had a little bit of time to let it breathe. It's still not a lot of time. I mean, you had somebody so profound in your life. have you come to any conclusions? As broad a question as that is?
It's just so weird that, I mean, this is honestly the first time that I've ever lost somebody that I cared about, and like it jumped right to my best friend, you know, like there was no like gradual anything. It was just,
right.
So it just like hit me so hard, and I thought my phone was actually going to explode from so many text messages. Like I actually got one from Brad Pitt saying like, I'm really sorry for Dunn and, you know, all that. And
That's
I'm thinking like, wow. And, I mean, I guess it is easy for him to get my number. All he has to do is call Spike Jones and you get it in 10 seconds, you know, like, but.
Well, you know, here's the way I was thinking about it. And you talk about thinking, right, you go up to tears. We were thinking of this collective. You know, all you guys have made a living off of sort of defying death and living in the face of that and saying, hey, we're going to push it to the limit. And, you know, with Steve-O and all these guys, I mean, there were people that certainly even you know and have admitted in the past, there were people that you thought were going to check out.
Yeah.
Dunn did not seem to be that guy. Ryan seemed to be, and the times that he would come here, and even recently, he had hit a new turn. It seemed to be, and he was actually professing to us, that time has passed where I'm going to be doing that super crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's time to go in a different direction. I don't have anything to prove anymore.
Well, he was always a full-blown nut in a car. Like in September 1996, when I was 16 years old, like he flipped me on 202 8 times in a car.
Jesus.
And, you know, thank God Chris Rabb put a seatbelt on me because we never really did that. And I actually undid the seatbelt saying, like, I'm not a wimp, you know? And
right.
He put it back on me. 2 seconds later, we're flipping 8 times. And my brother was in the front, and he only had, like, when you shut the door, the seatbelt comes closing in. So he didn't have the bottom part on.
But he had the,
So he flew out the car, like, 40 feet into the woods, and we landed upside down, and I couldn't find him anywhere. So I thought he was underneath the car. Like, so, yeah, he got, like, helicoptered to the, oh, it was terrible. But, I mean, like, I always tell Dunn, like, you know, he'll get the lightest car in the world that, like, your 5-year-old daughter could pick up, and then he'll put a Lamborghini engine on it with, like, nitrous and turbo boost and stuff. It's like, dude, you're going to fishtail right into a pole, dude. With, like,
you know what?
A light car with such power in it.
You can't control it.
Yeah,
you can't
like,
control it. It's like it's a rocket.
And I honestly think that, I mean, like, people say, like, you know, drunk driving, whatever. Like, he was a maniac, whether he was or wasn't. Like, that's what he did. He buys sports cars, and he loves to race.
Let me ask you this question then. You know, you love him to death as a brother. Did you find yourself being a bit angry that because you know his actions that night dictated what happened, and you love him to death? You know, I mean, was there a moment where you felt anger?
More of just, you know, like, kind of just what am I gonna do? Like, my best friend is gone. Like,
right.
I talk to him every day. Like, you know, whether it's filming something or golfing or going to the mall or anything. Like, you know, it's just like, yeah, you know, I feel like going to the King of Prussia Mall. Let me call up Dunn. Oh, never mind. You know, like it's like really hard to comprehend. Like,
it's wild. I just you know, a lot of things have been said about Ryan over the last couple of weeks. You know, especially at the blood alcohol level. You know, the speed that he was going. But we know Ryan, and you know Ryan better than anybody. And the fact that he flipped the car over, and I'm talking about when you were 16 years old. The fact that he flipped the car over, ejected your brother 40 feet from the crash site, and that your mom still considers him a son and kept him in your family is a testament to what a good guy he was, despite how crazy of a driver he was and insane sort of personality. I knew him as a nice guy and a guy who would talk to anybody, try to make anybody laugh, and we had a tweet or I guess a blog from Knoxville. He was just such a good listener. You know, so when you're telling me this story, you know, if this were me and my brother being in a car accident with my best friend, you know, my parents would forbid me to ever, you know, talk to this person again.
Yeah.
And you were still not only allowed to talk to him, but he was welcome in your house.
Yeah.
Forever.
It definitely was tough because when that happened in 1996, like, there was a good 10 minutes where I thought my brother was underneath the car dead, and, like, I'm trying to lift it up, and I'm punching the hell out of Dunn, just saying, like, you know, like, you killed my, then I see like feet in the woods, like 40 feet away. And like, I just run over there and he's just like, like it was terrible. And like, I just did an interview on the news. I went to the crash site and the news happened to be there. And like,
it broke my heart to see that. Yeah,
there's some rude, crude dudes out there, man. Like I would read some comments like, well, Bam's a really good actor, fake crying like that to get attention. It's like, what? What are you? Are you nuts? Like
the one that we talked about this. The one thing that you can count on is the anonymity of comments breeds huge balls.
Yeah.
And I know you commented on the Ebert thing. There was a great piece we put up on the. Listen, Ryan Dunn made some bad choices that night, but and it could have been even worse if other people had been involved. But that it doesn't extract the fact that Ryan Dunn was a good guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And was a good person.
And like if I can't believe Roger Ebert has the gall to even, first of all, put in his 2 cents. Second of all, be like, jackasses shouldn't let jackasses drive. It's like, what? Like, this just happened, dude. And
like
I've been crying for 2 days straight, and so are hundreds and millions of other people. And like, you have the gall to make a comment like that. Like, I want to fly to wherever you are and punch your fat face in.
Well, the article said the art of knowing when to shut up.
Yeah.
And to just let something
maybe I spoke
breathe.
too soon. Just don't even speak at all.
Yeah. Right.
It's really hard to ignore those things, and sometimes that's kind of what you have to do because those people don't know what they're talking about. And it's best to just mourn your friend's passing. And we got to know him a little bit over the years, not obviously nearly as well as you knew him, Bam, but so much of what you guys did over the years was chronicled in video. So, and that's sort of how we got to know him, through the movies and the TV shows. Have you sat down to watch any of the stuff that you guys have done together in the past?
I just saw like a few like YouTube tribute clips, recently, just, which is weird because there actually is something on Viva La Bam saying like, you're gonna,
you and your mom are saying,
you're gonna crash one day and it's gonna be like something like that. And, they were kind of just showing that on YouTube.
There was this video because Jackass 3.0 was on MTV a couple weekends, the weekend right before we passed, and there was this history of you guys getting together on Jackass. It was Jackass the early years, and it was just touching for me to see you guys as friends getting together and doing really dumb things and having fun doing it. But having Ryan be a part of that, it just really highlighted that he was just your buddy. He was just a cool guy, and seeing that side of him, I thought was really cool.
I got to ask this, Bam, since this happened. Is this going to, because you guys, and we've always said it, you guys live another lifestyle than the average person. You do outrageous stuff, whether it be on camera or off camera, and you're a special breed of people, and I'm curious if that's going to change your own personal lifestyle. Has it made you kind of introspective, look inside and go, I maybe ought to back off a little bit about being so over the top?
Well, for one, I would never drink and drive, from now on. I might have like a beer or two or whatever, but like I'll never like officially drink and drive. And luckily I have somebody who lives at my house who usually drives me around when I want to go to the bar. But the idiot, I was away and he had to go to the gas station to get smokes or whatever. So he decided to take the Lambo, realized that it was on E, and the moron puts like gas and oil mixture for dirt bikes into the gas tank.
We saw the pictures.
I thought it was diesel or something like that.
We saw the pictures. And it seized the engine, did it not?
But it was like oil gas mixture for dirt bikes.
Right, yeah.
So like $45,000 later, ooh, my bad. Yeah, definitely you're
bad.
Like,
do you find yourself, because the thing is, and it's since we've always known you, and that's what kills me, is that you're a sharp businessman. You're a good director. You don't get where you are without having, I think people are sort of, they get deflected by the fact that you have this very casual, skateboarder kind of deal going on, but no, there's a sharp mind behind that. As you process this, and adding on to Preston's question, do you think is there an epiphany moment here that you carry with you, or do you just?
Well, that's the hardest part. Every project that has been coming up has been Ryan Dunn involved. You know, me, Johnny Knoxville, Ryan Dunn, and Willie Nelson, and you know, we were doing a movie called Mustache Riders, and and Dunn was like the third main dude, you know, and like, you know, now it's like, well, what do we do? Like, do we not do it, or do we have somebody like Zach Galifianakis replace him? Like, I don't like what to do now.
Because
like,
we told him he had that Galifianakis thing.
Yeah,
rocking.
like I watched The Hangover, and I really think that, you know, I'm like, Dunn, that should have been you playing that part, man.
We were talking last time he was here about the fact that he's a good actor. B, he had the G4 show, which he was very proud of. I'm glad that G4 is going to run those.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
wait, is that true? Because I heard
yeah.
I heard that they were stopping it for some reason.
I read this morning that per the request of Ryan's family, that they are going to run what they had filmed.
Okay.
And they're also going to do a tribute, I think, on the 19th.
I did hear that, like, one of the first episodes was him, like, driving a car off of a ramp and then it blows up into flames or something.
Really?
So
Right.
I think that's
Maybe
the reason
that one
why they wanted to not air it. But
You know, I did want to ask about Ryan's family. His father lives here.
no, he lives in Ohio.
Okay, and does his mother live here?
She lives in Ohio as well.
So
Yeah.
they're both in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask about, you know, how they're doing. I also wanted to ask about Zach's family. Because, you know, Ryan is obviously taking most of the headlines, but, you know, unfortunately somebody was taken with him.
Yeah.
You know, are they...
How are they taking that?
Yeah,
they
how are
holding
they-
any resentment towards
Actually,
Ryan?
I mean, surprisingly, Angie, well, I mean, I was a day late getting home, so, I mean, but when I did see her, she was handling it really well. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think about people like, you know, Cameron, which is Dunn's best friend and Zach's best friend. Like,
yeah.
Cameron was pretty much attached at the hip to Dunn. And
Was
if
he in the
wasn't,
photos too?
He was in,
That night?
He might have been, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, like, they hung out all day, every day. And if it wasn't Dunn, if Dunn had to fly to L.A. or something, then he would be with Zach. So, like, I think about, like, how hard it must be for him. And, you know, like, Zach just got married, you know, and I heard that Rachel, his wife, like, is not handling it very well. Like, not to mention, like, you could see the crash site from Zach's house.
Oh, wow.
You could throw a baseball to it.
Had they just been there? We heard reports that they were at the house and then they left, and then that's when the accident happened.
I'm not really sure what happened, but I know that Rachel actually heard the crash
Oh, my God.
from her house. Like, you could honestly throw a baseball to the crash site from her house.
Oh, boy.
And that's, you know, like, that's got to be so tough to deal with. You know, I couldn't even like handle it when I went to it to look at it.
Yeah, you know, I knew Ryan, so when this happened, I was obviously upset because I knew him and I knew what a nice guy he was, you know. But when these sort of things happen, I immediately go to family and friends, and then my heart starts to break for them. So, you know, I had to call your mother and ask if this was true, and she had to call me back to let me know that it was true, and she was full on sobbing, crying, and I didn't know what to say, and it broke my heart because she obviously knew Ryan way better than I did. She's known him longer. She treated him like a son.
Second mother.
And then to see how upset you were on the news, it broke my heart, you know, threefold. You know, it's just not easy for me to see or, you know, even comprehend because, you know, you had said something on that camera that day. I've never really lost anybody that close to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Is it because you again, you've kind of been able to beat all this stuff. You have these things that you probably you should have been killed 9 or 10 times over with some of the stuff you've done, you know?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you think in your own mind, you sort of figured out,
It's scary.
I got this beat.
It's scary. Like, yeah, like, I mean, I knocked myself out at a demo in Kentucky so hard in like a 13-foot bowl, cement bowl that like you have to climb out of. And I was like so incapable. I had the wind knocked out of me. My brain was so jiggled loose that I felt like the ground was like an inch away from my eyes. Like I could touch it, you know, like, and like my brain was just so
rattled.
Thank God they took me to the children's hospital, which was the wrong one because there was such a big waiting list at the real one that they put me on a cart and drug me to the right one and skipped the whole line. But I really didn't think I was going to make it on that one.
Yeah, I would say, if anything, is what Preston was talking about. You get when you. My mother died when I was 21, so at that point, when mom dies, when a that's how much closer does it get than that? It reset the way I perceive life and the fragility of life and all of that.
Yeah.
Have you gained that since then?
Yeah, and another thing, like, I never believed, like, I was never too much of, like, a spiritual person or, like, believed in ghosts or whatever, but, like, just the energy of me breaking a window for no reason when there was nothing to be mad about, and then I find out that I did that the exact time that he crashed, and, like, not to mention there's been, like, an owl that sits on my porch that won't leave, and it's broad daylight out, and, like, it's just weird things like that.
There are all sorts of things that happen. When my mom passed, weird. And it's whether it's us just attaching it to it, but there's a state that exists after these things happen, especially when it's someone who was profound in your life, as was this case with you. Things it makes you think. It makes you ponder outside. It forces you to stop looking at yourself and accept the fact that there's a whole collective out there you got to worry about.
Kathy's dad, or Kathy's uncle is the paperclip.
Yeah, he's right here. He's right next to me.
It reminds her.
It's
of
Kathy's
him.
uncle right there.
So I have to ask, Bam. So obviously you're still grieving right now, but have you thought about anything? I mean, work-wise, future-wise, or are you just kind of putting everything on hold right now?
Well, I mean, for now, I just had a meeting about like a BAM clothing line, which would be in, like, Macy's. And, I've been coming up with a lot of ideas with that, and I've been, working on that. But other than that, like, Mustache Riders was something that I wanted to do so bad with Dunn in Knoxville. And, like, I guess I'm going to have to talk to Knoxville about it. But, I mean, it's such a good script that I would just recommend Zach Galifianakis or something, but it would just suck to not do that movie now.
Well, the last person, and this is what you always have to think too, and I always think about this, the last person who would want you to not do it is Dunn. Ryan Dunn. He'd want you to do that. He would not want anything but the best for everyone, who is here and going on and carrying on with things.
Yeah.
So I mean in the Haggard, he does a really good job. I mean, I encourage people to see just how talented he was and could have been had he pursued a lot more acting. But yeah, I think in the way all those projects now serve as as a tribute to him and complete all that stuff. But I know it's hard to think about that now.
Yeah.
How are Phil and April and the rest of your family doing?
I mean, in the beginning, like, I honestly can't cry anymore. Like, I really, it's
exhausting.
No more
it takes so much out of you. It literally takes a lot of energy to grieve.
Yeah, like, I still wake up in the morning like, was that all just one big dream? Like, nope, it was real.
Yeah,
like,
I know that feeling.
I ask myself every morning, like, is that real? Yep, it is.
And so the whole family's probably like that. I
mean, the whole town of Westchester, like, I heard that, like, I wasn't there, but I got a lot of text messages of just people saying, like, dude, the entire town of Westchester, like, can't even go out and eat or drink, or, like, everybody's just walking around with their heads down.
Well,
like,
he knew everyone.
So I know,
he was so nice.
That's the thing about Westchester. Like, the population is 30,000 people, and I honestly think that I know all 30,000 people. Well, like, by face, maybe not by name, but like, I honestly have seen every face in Westchester.
Well, when I first met Ryan, I just bumped into him at Iron Hill. He was just hanging out, and that's what you guys did. You were, a part of the local community there.
And you could have left. You guys could have. You could all be in L.A. right now doing your own thing, but you guys took pride, and still, you do take pride in where you came from. And you.
That's
still
another funny
there.
thing. Like, my buddy Novak. Well, he's in jail now, but but when he wasn't, he went to DK Diner in Westchester, and he was overhearing, like, this college frat boy say, like, man, F that kid Bam, man. He forgot where he came from, man. He forgot where he came from. And Novak just turns around. He's like, last time I checked, he still lives where he came from. So how can he forget where he came from if he still lives where he came from?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
As seeing that you knew Ryan better than anybody, Bam, I need to ask, do you think that with this happening, would he want people to take something from it, like don't make this mistake, driving that fast and so forth? I know that's what he loved to do.
Yeah.
But obviously he paid the ultimate price for it, and somebody else died as well.
Yeah. That's definitely a tough one because ever since I've known him, like honestly, I drove around the world with him in a Lamborghini in 8 days on the Gumball Rally, like around the world in 8 days. And like when I was tired, I'd be like, all right, done, take over. Like I couldn't sleep because I had to like hold both handles like just tensing up the entire time because he drives like such a maniac. Like that's just what he does. Like, so.
Well, I think a lot of people, and you can't say, well, what if he ran into a bus full of kids, or somebody on their way home from the night shift or whatever. Yeah. Obviously that could have been the situation, but it wasn't. But the reality is you shouldn't do that because that could be the situation. This. I think the situation would have been better is probably not the word, but had he been alone in the car, had he not taken somebody along with him, but the bottom line is, and I don't want to sit here and throw stones because it's not like I've never gotten behind the wheel when I shouldn't have,
right?
Or gone over the speed limit when I shouldn't have. But the bottom line is. This has happened way too many times. There was somebody who killed somebody, and most of the time, not most of the time. Sometimes it happens. Like
statistically, the person walks away, and
it happened on 452 in Aston. This kid was going like 140 miles per hour and plowed into somebody on their way home from work. Kid lives, person coming home from work doesn't. So that's the bottom line. Is they have racetracks. So if this is if this is what you want to do. If you want to go 130, 150 miles per hour,
there's a place to do
There's a place to do it.
And like if I this definitely woke me up, and like coming from a jackass, like I recommend to everybody, do not get behind the wheel if you've been drinking. Just don't. Because like when you're drunk, you always think that you're not.
Yeah.
Well,
like, and listen,
dude, I'm telling you, you're wasted. No, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm fine. No, you're not fine. I could do it. Like just. If you even drink at all, don't get behind the wheel.
We were talking about it earlier. That Kathy was saying, we'll do this stuff where we do the classic radio bit where you get one of the members drunk and you can see how someone just turns to crap. And Kathy talked about thinking she's speaking completely correctly and lucidly, and then hearing it back and amazed at how gone she was.
Yeah.
So you're right. Your perception. Yeah. Just err on the side of caution. You're wrong if you think you can, you can't.
Oh, believe me, I have a radio show myself, and like when I have to, if CKY, because Chad Ginsburg from CKY does the soundboard, so when he goes on tour for a month, I got to power out as many radio shows as I can. So there'll be times that it'll be like, all right, it's 2 a.m, let's do a radio show, and I'll think that I'm doing a great job. I'll hear myself back. I'm like. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I sounded good last night. Man,
that says it all, right?
Yeah. Listen, best case scenario, you get a DUI. Worst case scenario is you kill yourself or somebody else. And honestly, a cab ride is going to cost you a lot less than a DUI.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Bam. Thanks for stopping by here. Yeah. Phil, April, the Dunn family, all those guys. Give them, our best. I know you've been hearing it from everybody, but it's true. And there's you really don't in these situations.
You don't know what to do.
You don't know what to say or do.
However, if you decide that there's something that's put together that perhaps is a charity angle or something that is in memory of Ryan, we'll definitely spearhead it for you.
Yeah, well, absolutely promote it.
Too.
Actually, there is. We are doing something for Zach's wife. In Westchester.
Okay.
Probably in about a week, we're going to have some bands play, maybe sell some T-shirts or whatever. But, I mean, like, it's to benefit her because, he was the
breadwinner.
Exactly.
Do they have kids?
I think that they were trying, but no.
Okay.
All right. Well, just get us the details. We'll, promote it locally for you.
Okay, sounds good.
And if there's anything I can do for you, if I can get you 12 hot dogs, a pack of cigarettes, and a Gatorade,
we'll get it for you.
Just let me know.
All right, big time.
All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. We appreciate it.